Hi. So I wanted to make an episode of Public Record about one of my tattoos. First, I just want to say I wanted to film outside, but it's been raining for like 5 minutes and then not for 5 minutes and then for an hour all day. So here's the atmosphere you're used to seeing, and here's me. But a couple days ago, I posted something on my Instagram about an article that was going around about a woman who got a neck tattoo and her first artist refused. And I mentioned that I had a 666 tattoo, and I just wanted to get into the story of my 666 tattoo. Before I even start, background on me, I'm not really a religiously affiliated person. When I was younger, I went to Sunday school, and when I was old enough to make my own decision, I stopped going. And it was not any sort of refusal or anything, but I just wanted to hang out and play outside and all this stuff. And if someone's like, hey, do you want to go to school for one more day a week? Most 13-year-olds are gonna say no. I'll go to church with my grandma on Christmas. Sometimes my extended family will say grace at dinner, and I'm not just like, no. I pray too, but it's not ever something I think about. It's just not what I do, and not for any reason, just when it became my choice, I chose to do other things with my time. But anyway, so yes, I have a 666 tattoo, but it has nothing to do with Satan or Satan worship or any rebellion against the church or structured religion or whatever. And I tell people all the time, it's like one of my tattoos that actually does have a backstory, because a lot of my tattoos are just like imagery I enjoy, but I did get this tattoo after something I did experience. And before we get into the story, here's my tattoo. It's just 3 6s on my finger. This is the only one that really stuck, but here they are. I got them when I was 19, right? Let's say 19. I've had them touched up twice around that time frame, and I'm not really interested in having them touched up again, but yeah, they're about 5 years old, and they're still pretty in there. But here's a photo of them right after they were done, and I just took this right off my Tumblr. But yeah, they used to look good in there, and I seem pretty stoked to have them. But now I look like this. So here's the background story. Sorry, I have a fan on. I'm trying to talk loud, but still be quiet, because I'm not the only one home. So when I was 19, I was commuting to school. I used to have a car, and I had sold it because it was too expensive for me to maintain. So I was taking the bus. I had just moved back in with my parents, and I was commuting from their house all the way to Philadelphia, and I was taking public transportation. I was taking a bus. I used to take the train, and then that got too expensive, so every morning I would take a bus for an hour and a half to Center City, where I would then get on a train to get to my school. Tons of people do it, it's not a big deal. But, every morning at 6 a.m., the same couple people get on the bus with you, and after a couple weeks, a couple months with the same crew, you kind of start to recognize people, and you make up stories in your mind of like, well, why they're on the bus and who they are and what their job is. So in my delusion, there was this one woman who used to get on the bus stop after me, and she would wear scrubs, so I assumed she was a nurse or worked in a retirement community, whatever. And one morning, and if you've ever been on a public transportation bus, they're all different in every city, but the bus that I took had, when you would get on, it had 6 rows of seats that were like parallel to each other, and people would sit facing this way across the aisle, almost looking at each other. 6 seats like that were considered they're not considered handicap seats, they're like yield seats. Like, you can sit on them if you're only gonna ride the bus for like one stop, but you have to give those seats up to like an elderly person or like a woman with children, or, you know, a disabled person. There's even a little note. It's been a minute since I've been on the bus though, but they're called something, and it's 6 seats right in the front that face each other from across the aisle. And then the rest of the seats are standard. They're like this, back to back to back to back, and you sit forward in them. So, since I rode the bus for an hour and a half, I usually grabbed a seat in the back before the bus started to fill up, just because it's common courtesy, and I knew I was gonna be sitting there for a while. No one ever really sits in those yield seats, you know, unless you're taking the bus for a stop. So I got on one morning, sitting in my normal seat in the back, and I noticed this woman get on, and she's wearing the scrubs, and they all say, I heart Jesus, and what would Jesus do, and all that, like, printed across. And then she also has the bandana with the same exact print. You've probably seen it before, the WWJD. It's like, you know, and nothing against people who wear prints like this. It's not a commentary on religion. So Our Lady, she goes in the yield seats and stretches her way across all 3 and falls asleep. Which is like a dick move, I think is what people call it. But you know, the bus is quiet in the morning, everyone just woke up, no one would dare to say something to her. It's just not how the bus works. So you know, we're bumping along, the bus is filling up, it's always a packed bus at 6 a.m, everyone's getting to work. You know, you never sit by yourself that early in the morning. So, you know, 45 minutes in, the bus is packed, people are holding onto the rails, the seats are all taken up, and our friend is still laying across all 3 of the yield seats. And I'm thinking, like, I hope you're asleep, but I've seen you, and you've taken this bus as many times as me, and you just should know better, because you're a fully grown woman. So I'm kind of heated looking at her, trying to mind my own business, when a woman comes in to the bus who's pregnant and holding a baby, and everybody, you know, is kind of jam-packed in this bus, and no one can really give up their seat to her because we're all so solidified in where we're sitting. So she's just trying to hold on to the one rail, hold the baby, hold this other baby, and she's just like really trying. And in my mind I'm like, wake that lady up. But, you know, she seemed asleep, and nobody did anything. So I told you that I would take a bus and then go to the train. So the last stop on the bus is the bus depot, and underneath the bus depot is the train station. And, you know, we're getting closer to the depot. Everybody's pretty seasoned on the bus to the location, so everyone's starting to shift around, you know, get their backpack all zipped up and stuff. We're almost there. And wouldn't you know, our hero in the front of the bus realizes where we are, jumps up, and is the first one out of the bus. Beats everybody to the door. We pull to the depot, the bus opens, and she's out. And I'm just on the back of the bus, completely stunned. Like, were you faking it? Were you not asleep? Or did you take up all 3 of those seats and you were not even asleep? So it stuck with me. It stuck with me all day. I went to school, I talked about it in class, I just couldn't shake. The whole time I was thinking, what about your shirt? What about your scarf? Your whole shirt is, what would Jesus do? And isn't the answer, like, not be a dick? Like, get out of the yield seat? Give it up to the pregnant woman? Give it up to anyone else? Like, if you're the first people on the bus, score a good seat in the back. The back row is like a 5-seater. Go be an asshole back there. But Our Lady just stretched out on all those seats and pretended to be asleep when somebody asked if they could sit there. And like, now I'm a grown-ass woman and I see terrible things happen all the time, and I just have to, I don't know, that's crazy. But at the time, it just like stuck with me. And by the time I got on my bus to go home, I'd already texted my tattoo artist and I was like, I need a tattoo. I can't shake this feeling. So, in opposition to the woman who would not yield her seat and pretended to be asleep, so handicapped and, sensitive riders could not sit in her seat, I got a 666 tattoo. And you can think like, oh, now the story of that woman is stuck with you forever. But honestly, my thought was, if a woman who is plastered in Jesus material can't give her seat up to a pregnant woman, then why can't a decent person wear a 666 tattoo? And before you ask, why didn't you give up your seat to the woman? I'll tell you. I was all the way in the back, and normally the bus fills from back to front. So if I would have got up, someone would have just taken my seat. And I was at the window, so it was me in the window, passenger, and then all the people in the aisle holding onto the poles. So you can argue, oh, why didn't someone closer to her give up their seat? But she was almost like, it was so crowded in there, she was almost protected by the volume of people. She couldn't really move, because none of us could really move. But still, I give up my seat to 50-year-olds, and they're fine. But yeah, this lady just abused her print of her shirt. So I got a 666 tattoo. And before you wonder, like, do you regret that? I don't know. 99% of people don't know I have it. I don't post pictures of it. I don't think about it. Sometimes, like, if a cashier is giving me change and I give them my left hand, they might be like, what is that? But, I don't think my boyfriend knows I have this tattoo. No one really does. Honestly, when it comes up, it doesn't look like a 666 tattoo. Because I know that there are people in my life who would probably be upset just knowing I have it. And, that upsets me. I don't want to break anyone's heart. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I respect people's choices. And yeah, every once in a while, like, a mature figure in my life is like, do you have a tattoo on your hand? And usually that's as far as it goes, so I'll be like, oh yeah, but it's nothing. Because I have one on my other hand that I thoroughly enjoy, happy to have it. So, you know, sometimes if they're like, what's on your hand? I'll be like, oh, it's this hand, look at it. But, I have nothing against hand tattoos or religion or whatever. That's just my story of one time there was an asshole on my bus and it irked me all day. And I had, at the time, a very available tattoo artist who was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I'm here right now. Your bus goes past my tattoo shop. Zip zap. See, don't hate me. Constructive criticism is welcomed, but like I said recently in an Instagram post, I use YouTube and social media and stuff to connect with people who aren't in my neighborhood, aren't someone I would come across. So do not break my heart with your negative comments. Like I said on Instagram, if I'm creating content that you don't enjoy and that you feel the need to verbally criticize, make content that you like. And if you're like, I hate that Qcknd and she's stupid and she should talk about this, you talk about it on your channel and your friends will enjoy it. But that aside, this is the story of my 666 tattoo.